Well, Pacelli and Boomer, they're grizzled and gray, talking about Star Wars from back in the day. Got a talk show called Geeky, and it's true, spinning old tales about the stuff they went through. From Atari to Trek, they know every line. Geeky's is really feeling just fine. Pacelli's got a lightsaber, swings it with pride. Boomer's got a game but plays it deep in the night. They're ranting about He-Man and old X-Men too. On Geeky's, they're the nerdiest crew, talking Transformers toys that twist and they turn, singing blues for the geek life, their hearts still burn. Oh, Geeky as they're living the dream, talking comics and movies, they're busting the scenes. From Battlestar reruns to D&D lore, they're preaching the gospel of geek evermore. Pacelli and Boomer, they'll never grow old. Geeky geezers with hearts made of gold. They're sitting in the studio, mics turned up loud, reminiscing about Super Friends, feeling so proud. Pacelli loves Spider-Man, Boomer's for Hulk. They argue about Star Trek with passion and both. From Betamax tapes to their old D20s, Geeky is where the nostalgia flows. They got fans in the chat, from the young to the old, tuning in to hear stories that never get cold. Talking Ghostbusters, proton packs, toys in the box, and Saturday mornings with cartoons that rocks. Pacelli and Boomer, they're keeping it real. Geeky is with that old school feel. Oh, Geeky as they're living the dream, talking comics and movies, they're busting the scenes. From Battlestar reruns to D&D lore, they're preaching the gospel of geek evermore. Pacelli and Boomer, they'll never grow old. Geeky geezers with hearts made of gold. They're singing the blues for the games that they play, for the VHS tapes and the arcades that pray. But the spirits are young, though their hair's turning white. Geeky geezers keep the nerd fire alight, so tune in each week to the Geeky Geezer Show, where Pacelli and Boomer let the good times flow. From X-Files to X-Men, they're dropping the news, singing praises of geek life with them old blues. Pacelli and Boomer, forever they'll be Geeky Geezers living wild and free.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Geeky Geezers. I'm your host, Aged Boomer. Oh, I'm hearing
Yes, you are.
myself. That's so bizarre because there's a delay. Hi, this is my co-host, Pacelli.
Hello, hello.
And this is my other co-host, Netter of Netter's Network, also known as the Geezette.
Good evening.
And here we are. We got a jam-packed show tonight. We'll try to get through it all, but we can't make any guarantees. But we will. I guess things are not great in the geek sphere right now.
It's there's some challenges. That's for sure.
I don't know. I mean, there was a Nintendo story this week I didn't even bother doing, but I'm like, wow, the woke has seeped into Nintendo finally, and it's like, why?
It has.
Why can't anything be left alone? I can't just.
Well,
anyway.
And I mean, I've been down on them for business reasons, but now, hey, they've come full circle, and now I have plenty of reasons to not like them.
Well, I don't. I don't. Like I said, when they're good, I'll go with them. When they're not, I mean, like I said, I didn't buy a Switch 2, and now I'm really having less of a reason to get a Switch 2. So, in fact, probably no reason going forward. But anyway, I don't want to talk about Nintendo right now. Let's talk about the chat and say hi to everybody.
Hello, the chat.
Hello, the chat, and welcome to Geeky Geezers. Oh, look, we got Big Al. Hello, my geezer friends. I hope you have a terrific show tonight. Wishing everyone a wonderful, happy, safe, and warm week ahead. It's been chilly in Florida, and I know what you're saying. Chilly in Florida is nothing compared to what we're going through. But
I get it. I'm not going to give. Well, I mean, I might do a bit from time to time, but I understand that when you're not used to it, your metabolism is entirely different, and it hits you harder. Yeah.
So by chilly, do you mean it's like, I don't know, 70 instead of 72?
This is what I was.
It's gotten into the 50s, hasn't
it?
Down by.
I think so. Excuse me. Last night, I was picking us up some dinner. I went down to the local Domino's, right? And I go in there, I'm wearing a hat. The gusts of winds were so bad, it blows my ball cap right off my hat, and then the cap goes flying around. I finally grab it, put it on firmly, walk into the place, get the pizzas, and then bam, the wind is gusting at me again, blows the receipt out of the pizza box. I have to go grab the receipt, and it's like, this is a nightmare.
Wow.
This is just...
Of course, keep in mind you're talking to a boy who grew up in the Windy City, so I mean,
we get wind in Florida too. I'm just saying,
right.
but this, I've never had wind that bad that it blew the hat right off my head in where I live. It's like, it's ridiculous.
Right,
and I'm just like, it was bitingly cold outside, so I just wanted to get home. And I think with one of the pizzas, it was a thin crust. It folded over like a portion of the pizza. How bad it was.
It's making it very clear to you that it was meant to be New York style, and you would eat it as such.
Yeah, well, different pizzas, different areas. Yeah. Well, oh no, I'm a big believer in folding. Like I said, I'm from New Jersey. We would do it like New York did. Yeah. We would fold the pizzas. In fact, if you watch the movie Saturday Night Fever, in the beginning, John Travolta is getting 2 slices of pepperoni pizza, and he's folding both of them into each other.
Yeah,
like on top of each other. And apparently that was something the kids were doing at the time in New York City. So
wow,
it's interesting. But let me say hi to the rest of the chat. Connie Cleary, welcome. Always good to see you. Unscripted raid, yes. And hold on, the stupid twirly thing. There we go. All right, Depensec, welcome. Andrea Black 2705. Welcome. Let me see who else is here. Let me see. Netter of Netters Network, always good to see you.
Thank you.
Yep.
And let me see here. Yes, okay. Booger 414.
Welcome.
And it landed on the hospital awning, and the traveler helped you get it down. Is this from my pizza? Yes. It would just fly. Now, we're not really near the hospital. That's a few blocks away. But anyway, all right. Well, that's it for now. But do you have the presentation ready?
I do. Let me bring that up for you. The presentation.
This was a big one tonight.
And of course, as per usual, we're going to talk about the good old days. Tell us about the good old days, Uncle.
Well, I figure it ties into one of our stories tonight. So we're going to talk about the good old days of Faces of Death. Now, I remember this video series from the video store. Told my mom it was a cartoon, so she went ahead and read it for me. And man, talk about opening up my eyes. There's something like watching a guy parachute into an alligator get eaten live in front of you.
Speaking of the video stores, I worked at a video store, and the owner would often ask me, about pop cultural things that he wasn't aware of. And he's like, have you heard about this Faces of Death? And I'm like, oh yeah, people talk about it. It's, kind of got a cult following. He's like, well, a lot of people want me to get a copy of this, for rental, but I'm having a hard time getting my hands on it. I'm like, it's got a very interesting, backstory. There's a lot of places, certain countries and some states that have completely, and this was back in the late 70s, early 80s.
Oh yeah.
It was that it had banned it, and it was very difficult to get on physical media initially. It had a bit of a legendary status, but really, this is what we're talking about for good old days.
Well, listen, I have some images that I'm going to show you, and they're I'm sure they're I don't care about I'm done. I don't care about you, YouTube. I'm going to show what I want to show, and
this is up there with the Cannibal Holocaust.
There we go. Don't bring that movie up. I'm kidding. We're not doing Faces of Death. What's wrong with you people?
Oh my God, this is horrifying! Ah!
No, we're doing the Muppet Show. Well, maybe we may talk a little bit more about Faces of Death later. It does tie into a story. No, we're not going to do Faces of Death for good old days. I never checked those movies out. I would hear the kids on the school bus talking about it, and it's like, no, we're not doing that. But
the big debate on that was, is it real or is it fake? And,
yes.
Oh no, that's actual. It's basically like a snuff film, and I'm like,
yeah, basically.
And I was a kid at the time. I'm like, you guys are morons.
It's fake. It was all fake, right? Okay.
Yes.
Anyway, though, today we're talking about the Muppet Show.
Awesome. That's something to talk about.
Did you grow up with the Muppet Show?
I don't know if I would say I grew up with the Muppet Show.
74 is when it started.
Did it really start that early? My gosh.
74
then I guess I did.
I did.
I mean,
Of course, I'm older than you, so
but I mean, I watched it, and I mean, I'll be honest, my brother was really into. Well, see, the other thing too is you forget when it came out, as opposed to the fact that it was in syndication for a very long time on repeats for years, and my brother loved that show. What was great about it, though, was that my mom liked it too, because they would have, celebrity guests every week. Usually the kids didn't really care about. Some of them were really good. Like they had Mark Hamill and the characters from Star Wars on one episode. They had Christopher Reeve, and then they did allusions to Superman. They had Wonder Woman, and they, talked about Wonder Woman.
I didn't know Linda Carter was a guest. I should have looked her up. Okay.
Oh yeah. She sang. She was a singer too, and she sang Rubber Band Man. I just remember that for some reason, and it was really cool. As she's singing, they had like these backup singers, like made out of rubber bands in that Muppet style. It was kind of cool.
Did she flirt with Kermit, just out of curiosity?
Which brought her into conflict with Miss Piggy a little
Miss
bit.
Piggy.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, it was some funny stuff. Actually, I'm trying to figure out. All right, let me get into this though. This is, of course, the great Jim Henson.
Yes, it is.
Who I sometimes wonder if the reason things wither on the vine is because their creators pass away, and people.
There's that element to it, but I also feel like if he was alive and he, allowed Disney to take charge of it, it would have just been completely bastardized, like certain other properties that we know about.
Yeah.
Just saying, just speculating there.
But I had to include Staffler and
of course,
Waldorf.
Statler and Waldorf. Yes.
Waldorf. I'm sorry, like Waldorf salad.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Okay. And because they used to be our little.
We used to use them as our representation,
as our representatives,
icons or whatever. Yeah.
They always would throw out the zingers. They're basically the hecklers in the audience, right?
Right. Exactly. They had the whole gimmick of the Muppet Show was, it was a variety show, but it was like an old-fashioned vaudeville type of show. So
yes.
It was done in a live theater. So you got to see the backstage of the theater and so forth. Statler and Waldorf were up in the balcony in they never really go into it, but it just, for all intents and purposes, seemed to have been a reserved seat situation. So I have to wonder if they were like theater patrons and that's why they were put up with.
They I imagine, especially by their names, that these were curmudgeonly, old blue-blooded rich men.
They
right?
were probably wealthy and they could get away with doing whatever it was.
Like they would wear the Monopoly Man's outfit probably when they were younger.
Sure, exactly.
And just that. But yeah, they were great fun, and of course we had different characters. There's Sam Eagle, who I think is always complaining about the show and is trying to write a letter to the network to get it canceled because it's not wholesome or something like.
His thought was, he wanted it always to be very dignified,
patriotic.
He was very disappointed when it wasn't, dignified. He didn't want it to be silly. He was kind of he was curmudgeonly in a different way. He wanted the show to be good. He wanted it to be excellent. He didn't want it to be silly. He was the counterbalance to the characters like Gonzo and Animal,
Well, Gonzo, I think, always meant well. It's just that things always turned out to be a disaster when he was trying to do his stunts. Whereas Animal's just an animal.
Well, and with Gonzo, you get the impression that he was a little bit special.
Yes, a lot of guest stars on this show. We have Steve Martin right there.
Yes.
Did they just kidnap him and he shows up in his bathrobe? I don't know.
There was always some sort of a shtick like that, There was, and it was always surprising when you'd have a guest come on and say to Kermit, "Oh, I am so glad that I could be on the show." "You are? Really?" "Yeah, I've always wanted to be on the Muppet Show." "Oh, Okay, good.
Yeah, it's just
You know?
it's real funny. I'm gonna go through the guests in a minute. I just want to make sure I have. Give me a moment. Okay, and Connie, she was in Back to the Beach, actress.
Connie Stevens.
Connie Stevens, that's her. Yes, Connie Stevens. She shows up in an episode. This is like a 1950s thing, but then you have these giant Muppets, like it's like a sock hop sort of thing. Do you understand?
Yep.
It was like that.
Oh yeah.
And Alice
Alice
Cooper.
Cooper. Yes, absolutely.
Look at the Muppets around
Right?
him. Is he surrounded by all the monster Muppets? Is that what I'm getting
Yes,
the point
he
about?
is.
Yes.
Absolutely. And if I'm not
They're his
mistaken, did he
people.
also do Welcome to My Nightmare on that
He
episode?
might have, yeah.
I think he did.
I was watching episodes early. I didn't catch this one, but yeah, I thought this was neat. They're all on YouTube, by the way. If you want to bypass the mouse, is that Mia Farrow?
It is.
I think she was on the Valentine's Day episode. And when I think of Mia Farrow, I think of The Great Gatsby with her and Redford. But that's not a very romantic movie if you go down on it. I mean,
and I'm forgetting the name of the character on the left. He was the janitor. He was in backstage sketches from time to time.
I gotcha. Yeah. And let me see, Harry Belafonte, correct?
Yes, right? He absolutely did the Banana Boat song.
Yes, awesome, incredible. Yes, and let's see here. We also had Liza Minnelli.
Liza Minnelli.
Which I guess this was coming off the success of Cabaret, perhaps?
I should imagine so.
Yes. But I forgot Vincent Price was on the Muppets. I didn't realize.
Oh, sure. I think he was on Sesame Street too, to be honest with you.
Did he hang out with the Count?
I wouldn't be
surprised. They probably did a skit with him and the Count, yeah.
It was a missed opportunity if they didn't. There you go. Okay, so I got to say a little bit about this real quick. So you had Mark Hamill on, and Mark Hamill did some singing numbers and so forth, but in a very humorous, slapsticky kind of way.
Right.
And the idea was that Mark Hamill was not Luke Skywalker. He did not want, and so he would say, no, that's my twin brother. I'm Luke Skywalker. And honestly, there was a generation of kids that honestly believed that Mark Hamill had a twin brother that played Luke Skywalker, and that one was the stunt double for the other or something like that. And I'm like, again, I grew up with idiots. I really did. But
what's the stick of this episode is that Mark Hamill thinks he's Luke Skywalker. Says, "What am I doing on this strange planet with all these creatures or something?"
Not exactly. Okay. So the idea was that he kind of did like a Clark Kent Superman kind of thing, where he'd leave and come back in the fatigues as Luke Skywalker, and then he behave like he was Luke Skywalker, and we're here to fight the evil Galactic Empire and blah 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 and this and that. And no, I'm not here to sing. I don't sing. I don't dance. I'm a rebel or whatever. And he would take off, and then he'd come back dressed as Mark Hamill, and he'd be like, well, I wouldn't mind being in your show. What can you do? Oh, the lead up to this is there was a couple of different Muppets auditioning to be on the show, and one of the Muppets was I don't remember his name. He said, "Okay, well, what's your shtick?" He goes, "Oh, I gargle Gershwin," and he would pour something back in, and you gargle the tune of a Gershwin tune.
Oh my goodness!
And Kurt would be like, "No, we don't want." That's dumb. No. And so they do the thing with Mark Hamill, and with Luke Skywalker, I don't do, vaudeville. I don't do. Then Mark Hamill comes in and goes, "Oh, sure, I'd love to be on your show. Oh, good. What's your talent?" "Well, I can gargle Gershwin." Yeah.
So.
And then and of course there was this big extended Pigs in Space bit that
was like their version of Star Trek, right? Pigs in Space, right?
Star Trek, and really anything they wanted to
or
parody,
Flash Gordon or whatever, something like that.
Exactly.
And then of course he shows up on the ship as Luke Skywalker with C-3PO. And I think Lynn was mentioning that's the Empire outfit. I think Empire must have been being shot when this aired. Probably.
They were promoting Empire during the time that this was being done. Yeah.
because I don't know if this was 79 or 80. It was around that time. But yeah, it's kind of neat. But of course, Miss Piggy is of course going gaga as usual. But John Cleese apparently was a
John
great guest.
Cleese. Yes, this was before I really got into Monty Python, so I didn't have the appreciation that I should have done for John Cleese. So I don't really remember it that well. But,
there's Kermit and Fozzie Bear. Fozzie Bear always would try to do his comedic acts, and he'd get booed off the stage. That was his whole thing, right?
Because they were before there were dad jokes, he basically was doing dad jokes.
Yeah, yes. A lot of things, like the Muppet Show invented the dad joke. The Muppet Show, I argued that Miss Piggy, I'll get into that at the end, but like Miss Piggy, she was kind of a diva, but then I'm like, she was probably the original diva.
I mean, in a way, that's probably true. Oh gosh,
Debbie Harry. Oh,
yeah.
She's beautiful. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And she did a wonderful rendition of the Rainbow Connection with Kermit. And
yes, she did. And wonderful. I'll tell you, that song breaks my heart every single time. So I mean, my gosh.
I love her here, though. She's in some sort of scouting outfit. Is that right?
Yeah, I honestly don't remember what this sketch was about. I'm going to have to revisit some of these old episodes. I kind of missed this show.
Waka 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 Fozzie Bear. That's correct. That's what he was doing.
Yep.
I watched the first episode. One of the first things they did in the show was na 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 do 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 do.
Yeah, that's right. That was very much. They did that. They originally did it on Sesame Street, and that just carried over into it just became a constant for the Muppets.
Well, it's interesting. When I watched Bert and Ernie guest star, they were one of the guests, and Ernie is like climbing around. Like, the Bert's like, no, we're on a serious show right now. We're not on Sesame Street. You can't just do the same thing. Like he's like, this is like the big time. Don't be embarrassed.
That's funny. Yeah.
I think they did the nose bit where he takes his nose off and he has to put the nose back.
Oh, so, right.
Kenny Rogers. The gambler. I
am 99% certain that is a reversed image. I think the way it aired, it was the other way around. They were on the other side of it. Huh?
I don't think the show was live, right?
No, but they
filmed it live.
They filmed it as though it was live. Yeah,
because
that was part of the conceit of the show. Yeah,
because I'm watching this segment and it's funny because I thought in my head that they did the gambler on it, and I said in my head, they better not have him with Gonzo and Fozzie Bear doing this. I don't want that. It better be Old Man Muppets. And then I watched it like, oh, it's Old Man Muppets. That's how you're supposed to do it. So they did it right. Yep. And there's a point in the song where the ghost of the Old Man Muppet is doing the no one to hold him, and he's up there. Yeah. And you could see Kenny Rogers, and talk about a professional. He is doing his best to sing and not to bust out laughing, because he wants to bust out laughing. You could tell he's fighting it with all his might.
To be fair, you never know how many takes there might have been for him to get that right.
Maybe, but it was tough. But yeah. That was a great segment. Let's see who else we have. And of course, Christopher Reeve guest starred. And of course, Miss Piggy. She's all going, "Ooh, Kermit," and something that Kermit says, "Oh, tonight's guest is Christopher Reeve." And then she like pushes him out of the way. What? Yes, because it's Superman, And it's like, yes.
Exactly.
And like
right.
You see Miss Piggy's room, and it's got all kinds of Superman paraphernalia, like a big cutout of Christopher Reeve as Superman in there, and it's funny. Yeah. Moving on to we had of course they had different skits on the show. That's the Newsman.
Yep.
It's just
I mean, that kind of made me always feel like it was a family friendly, child friendly version of Saturday Night Live in a lot of ways. And you had the news segment just like Saturday Night Live did.
Right. And then, of course, you had, what was that, Dr. Honeydew, is that right? And Beaker?
Dr. Bunsen Honeydew.
Bunsen Honeydew, yes.
Yeah. Bunsen as in Bunsen Burt.
And Honeydew as in his head looks like a melon.
Well,
like a honeydew melon, yes. And there would always be these experiments that would go awry, and something horrible would happen to poor Beaker over there. Yes.
Right.
And, of course, the Swedish chef with the chicken.
Yep.
Verda.
There was a great one where we were talking about Sam at the beginning,
Yes.
Sam the Eagle, who wanted no silliness, and there was a segment where Gene Stapleton was talking to the Swedish chef, and the Swedish chef, of course, speaking in Swedish, and Sam comes in and says, "Look, nobody speaks your language. You need to speak American. I want you from this point on." Oh, no, I remember. He was miffed because no one could understand him. And Gene Stapleton says, no, I understand him. And she starts speaking back to him in this, same mock Swedish language. And he says, "You speak Swedish?" She goes, "Oh, no, I speak mock Swedish." And he goes, "What?" He goes, you didn't know this is mock Swedish? Yeah, I took a correspondence course. And he goes,
"That's funny.
You should not be. That is absolutely preposterous. I insist you speak your native language from now on." And he goes, he nods, and then he starts speaking again. He goes, "What did he say?" She goes, "I don't know. I don't speak mock Japanese."
Apparently,
yeah. Now that I think about it, those jokes you couldn't do these days. People would get all offended.
Oh, please! Apparently, Disney was putting up disclaimers on their Disney Plus. We don't condone this. It's like little things. Like they hate Aladdin now. Modern Disney hates the movie Aladdin. They're desperate.
I mean, people really need to say, look, if you really, don't stand behind this product, then don't play those episodes. Just throw them away.
Yes.
The
newsman was a puppet of Walter Cronkite, and the real Walter Cronkite said that becoming a Muppet was his greatest honor. That's interesting. Okay. How can you think about the Muppets and smile? Here's the deal. You think like you're over the Muppets and you're jaded, and then I go to like the Disney park, which I think they got rid of the Muppet thing there, and you watch the Muppets 3D, and that was a brilliant attraction, which I think Henson was personally involved with that attraction. And the great thing is Saffler and Waldorf would pop out, because you're like in the audience, like you're on the Muppet Show, and Saffler and Waldorf would pop out, and they'd start randomly making fun of people in the audience. Now, of course, it was all pre-done. Do you understand?
Right.
I don't know, like he was comparing someone to Goofy or something, something like that. But it was fun stuff. But and of course they had the pizzeria, the Rat Pizzeria restaurant in downtown Disney, which I thought was funny.
Oh, that's right, they did. Yeah,
and it's rats, and it's run by rats, and it's like, who would eat at a restaurant run by rats? I guess that's the joke.
Part of the shtick. Yeah, exactly.
It was actually one of the better deals in Disney Hollywood Studios. The prices were
That's what I've heard people say, yeah.
You have to do research ahead of going to Disney and those parks to find out if you're in the park, what's the best deal. Like, nothing's cheap, but there's some things that are better deals than others, Yeah. Dr. Mayhem and the Something Band.
No. It was Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem.
Oh, Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem. Okay.
Yes.
There we go.
So there was Floyd, Dr. Teeth, Zoot, Animal. I'm drawing a blank.
Wait a minute. Does Floyd have a sister, or does Floyd like to dress up in other parts of the show? Because one of the dancing ladies in the beginning looks a lot like Floyd.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Which I don't know if that's just Jim Henson having some fun there. I don't know.
What was the name of the rocker chick in the band?
That's what I'm trying to remember.
Hold on. I will.
The red. Okay, so that is a woman. Okay.
The blonde, yeah.
Okay, that is a woman. I started freaking out. Okay, all right.
No, Floyd is the one in blue on the saxophone.
Saxophone, I understand. Okay, like I said, I'm not as much of a Muppets expert as I should be, but Janice, thank you, a booger.
Janice, thank you.
Yes, and Janice does the dancing in the beginning. People often use Janice to like say what, like they compare like a lot of the young like the women, the Hollywood types getting the plastic surgery with the duck lips, and they say men don't want this. They show a picture of Janice with the big lips. So that's what you look like.
I did not know that was a thing. That's funny.
Yeah. Let me see. And there's Gonzo. Who's the nut with the cannon?
I always forget, but he loves to blow things up.
Yes.
He was a pyro, and they were trying to talk Gonzo out of this, but he was
Was he sort of like the evil Knievel of the show or
kind
something?
of, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
If any of you kids know who Evil Knievel is still. No, but that's why we do these segments. Okay.
Right.
So let's see. And of course we have Fozzie Bear and Ralph. That's the dog, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's always playing the piano. And who the heck is the bear? Is that
I don't remember.
Bobo
I
the
know
bear
had
or
a
something
name.
like that? I love him. He's because you have Fozzie Bear that doesn't look like a bear. Then you have this bear.
This is a very bear-like bear.
The
Yeah.
big
Yes.
bear. Okay,
Yeah.
wait.
And is that
I
crazy?
know there's a wiki
Crazy.
all about these characters.
There's so many Muppets on these shows. It's like
There
Henson
are.
just went nuts. Crazy Harry is the one next to Gonzo. Okay, all right.
Crazy Harry, that was his name, right?
All right, but anyway, and of course, last but not least, there's Miss Piggy,
Yep.
the true star of the show, as it were.
Actually, according to Google, the name of the huge bear, the large, gruff security
Yes.
guard looking one, was called Bobo the bear.
Bobo the bear.
I thought
yeah.
it was Bobo. Okay, I said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or did I say Bozo?
Okay.
I might have said Bozo, which is a clown, not a bear. Anyway, but there's Miss Piggy. There's Ms. Piggy, because this is the 70s, right? Ms.
No, she was her,
was it
her
Miss
logo.
Piggy? Okay.
Yeah, it was Miss. And that was important because she wanted people to know she wasn't married.
She looked very different as the show went on. Like the earlier episodes,
Yeah.
I guess she's
Her
got
eyes
like
changed.
that.
Yeah. Her
Like
eyes
she has
changed.
she has that very 70s lady look, like with the long
Mhm.
hair, you know?
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. But big fan of this show. And it came and went. It had its 5 years and then it went off the air. I mean, you saw Muppet movies.
Look
so
at that. At the very top center is a Muppet of Jim Henson.
Yeah.
That's
him. He
pretty
made his
cool.
own Muppet of himself.
Yeah.
But
Well, you?
I mean, I suppose I would. You're right.
actually, if you look down at the bottom, that's the older looking Miss
Yes.
Piggy. That's when
Yes,
she
it
originally
is.
started out. More like
Yeah.
like an actress that would be on Charlie's Angels or something, right?
Oh, that was very much.
Well,
Did Farrah Fawcett ever show up on the Muppet Show? That's what I have to look into next.
I'd be surprised if she didn't. She must
Be
have.
interesting. But yeah. But that was the Muppet Show. That was a big part of many American kids' childhoods in the 70s. And Jim Henson, one of a kind, and
Kind of a crazy genius, yeah.
he basically was. Because I'm sorry, if you were to tell me at the time, like, yeah, I want to do a show with all these puppets, and I'm going to call them Muppets, and they'd be crazy, like, get out of my studio. What are you, nuts? No one's going to go for Muppets or the puppets. This is the 1970s, and he made it work, and they became a sensation.
And
I think,
there was it was really lightning in a bottle because it started out with him and Kermit on Sesame Street.
Yep.
So you already had a generation of children and adults that knew these characters, and then when they decided to go prime time with them, there was a little bit more buy-in at that point. But he really did push the envelopes with his Muppets, and that's how you ended up with things like the Dark Crystal and so many of the movies.
He was big on that. He says, I don't see any reason why you can't do a movie entirely with puppets. He was really trying to push things forward.
Well, then when you look at the Muppet movies, some of the filming, like we talked about it once before with the at least I think we did on this channel, talking about how they did the Muppets riding bikes. It was absolutely incredible.
I remembered that. That was Kermit, right? Riding the bike.
Yeah.
Then there was a montage of others, so there were different techniques being done. At certain points, there was a bike being pulled by a vehicle, in front of it, off camera. In other segments, some of the bikes were connected together. So yeah.
Yeah.
Some
I
of the
mean,
bigger characters were people in costumes.
it's brilliant, and I don't know if he had any influence in when they started using more puppetry in the Star Wars movies. Was he involved in any of that, or at least
Well,
people
absolutely.
associate? Yeah, yeah.
Well, Frank Oz,
Frank
who
Oz worked
was
with him. Yes,
the voice of
Miss Piggy, right?
Miss Piggy
Yeah.
and Grover on Sesame Street, was the
Yoda.
voice of Yoda.
Yeah. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, it kind of brings a tear to my eye, but we may have some Muppet news later for good or ill. But we'll get to that in a little bit. And thank you. You're welcome, Deetz. I'm glad you guys liked it. I figured we never did the Muppet Show for good old days. See, there's always good old days to cover.
Yep.
As you know, Yoda was a Muppet.
Yes,
There was a line in one of the Fast and the Furious movies about Yoda, with Charlize Theron delivers to the villain in that. But anyway, unfortunately, we have a death to talk about tonight, and I'm not happy about this. Not that I'm happy about any deaths, but this is Catherine O'Hara, who was a real big fan of growing up, because I used to watch the old SCTV repeats even before I started seeing her movies like Home Alone, and I'm not gonna lie, I even had a bit of a crush on her, and I'm sad.
She was not unattractive. That's absolutely true.
And she was a great comedian too, a great comic artist
in
too.
In the show description, I always do like bullet points of some of the top stories, and Kevin McCallister and Lydia Deetz both lost their mom.
Awful. Yeah, there you go. Award-winning actress Catherine O'Hara has passed away at age 71. The actress's manager confirmed earlier reports to People on Friday, though no additional details were immediately available. Remembered by a generation as Kevin McCallister's mom in Home Alone, O'Hara was also in modern-day classics such as Beetlejuice, Christopher Guest mockumentaries like Best in Show, and the series Schitt's Creek.
Yes, that's right.
I forgot she's in a lot of those Christopher Guest documentaries, kind of the mockumentaries that were made after
right
came out. And she was in a lot of those,
which was very much in that like Saturday Night Live kind of feel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I think it would have old SNL actors. I mean, or at least SCTV actors in them. Like you had, Eugene Levy would show up in a lot of them too. O'Hara is the sixth of 7 children. She was born in Canada in 1954. While not from a show business family, her father worked for the Canadian Pacific Railway, and her mother was a real estate agent. The future comedian discovered theater at a young age. After high school, O'Hara worked as a waitress at Toronto's famous Second City Theater. After an initial rejection, she joined the company in 1974. When the theater started a TV show, Second City Television, O'Hara became known for her celebrity impressions, and original characters. While working as a writer on the show, she received 5 Emmy nominations, winning her first award. Her breakout film role was in Martin Scorsese's 1985 black comedy After Hours, where she played Gail, an ice cream truck driver who becomes a foil to the film's protagonist. I need to watch After Hours.
Yeah.
That's on my to watch list. I think it even got a DVD Criterion Blu-ray recently. 3 years later, O'Hara was then cast in Tim Burton's iconic Beetlejuice as Delia Deetz. She reprised the role in 2024 as Beetlejuice. In 1990, O'Hara played Kate McCallister, the mom in the holiday classic Home Alone, where she shared several memorable scenes with her SCTV alum John Candy. She was also in the 1992 sequel, Home Alone 2 Lost in New York, but in 1994, O'Hara took a dramatic role in Lawrence Kasdan's Wyatt Earp as Allie North, the famous lawman's sister-in-law. It's weird. I never watched Wyatt Earp because I was always in the Tombstone camp, and that came out the same year, I think.
Yeah.
1996 saw O'Hara returning to her improv groups when she appeared as guest on Waiting for Guffman. This was the first of 4 projects she did with the director. Her performance in the 2006 film For Your Consideration, where she played an actress swept up in Oscar buzz, generated real-life award consideration and netted her several prestigious wins. That's a great movie, For Your Consideration.
Yeah.
Ricky Gervais pops in that movie, and he has a segment that's really funny. Through the mid-2000s, O'Hara made numerous TV guest star appearances on shows like Curb Your Enthusiasm, 30 Rock, and Modern Family. Throughout her career, going all the way to her second time at Second City Theater, O'Hara frequently collaborated with Eugene Levy. In 2015, she joined the cast of Schitt's Creek, a series created by Levy's son Dan. The Canadian sitcom developed a strong following when it was licensed to Netflix. I need to watch that. You know, like I always talk about, you need to catch up on shows instead of watching new
Right.
stuff, catch up on the good stuff. This is probably a good show, because I'm a big fan of hers. But she is survived by her husband, Bo Welch, and her children. For many fans, O'Hara leaves behind a lasting legacy of work and laughter. So, yeah, I'm just... it's sad. I feel bad about this, and I feel like she still had more years ahead of her to do comedy, and I guess we're not going to see that now.
I mean, she wasn't particularly old. I don't.
No.
That's very concerning.
Yeah, so it's depressing, actually. Just Catherine O'Hara
From
was
an old person perspective, yeah.
Wallace Lang. Catherine O'Hara was a beautiful woman with great comedic and acting talents. Yeah, I think that sums it up. Yeah, thank you. Rest in peace, and enjoy her work. And I will have to go check out that Schitt's Creek show. I think that's what I'll be doing.
In my description below,
only the good die young. I'm sorry. Wait.
I said Bob Iger follows Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, we'll see.
It does seem pretty coincidental.
Bob Iger may be exiting the Mouse House before his CEO contract expires at the end of the year. Iger told associates that he plans to step down as CEO and pull back from daily management before December 31st, 2026, end of his contract, the Wall Street Journal reported Friday, citing anonymous sources. Per the Journal story, Iger has told people close to him that he is ready to move on from the grind of being CEO. I don't think it's fun for him anymore.
I'm not. Yeah.
Would you want to be see? What do you have but headaches right now at
That's
Disney?
For damn sure.
And not that he isn't maybe part of the design of those headaches himself, but
true.
Just like he used to like it, I guess, for the glitz, right? He'd be hobnob with the stars, but let's face facts: the MCU is not what it was. Star Wars is a train
all of
wreck.
Hollywood is not what it was. There's almost no glitz left in Hollywood anymore.
They need to do better. That's why I'm very curious to see what Paramount is going to do, because if there's going to be a change, it's going to start there. And if it's
Agreed.
not, and I just don't know. Per the story, Iger is told people close and ready to move on to grind. Okay, that he was frustrated by conflicts at ABC over the nearly week-long suspension of Jimmy Kimmel in September, over on-air remarks about the late-night host made about Charlie Kirk's killer. Well, you know what? He could have just not said anything. The board of Disney has said it expects to announce Iger's success in early 2026. The board of directors is planning to meet next week at Disney's Burbank headquarters, where they are expected to vote on who should take the top job. The Journal reported the appointment of the next CEO will be determined by the full board, and we currently expect to announce the appointment of the company's next CEO in early 2026. So this is sounding like Iger is a lame duck at this point.
Yes, and I would say, just like Kathleen Kennedy before him, these people don't just suddenly leave, and all kinds of other people. They're planning this in advance, and they've already picked their successors, and they're already out the door before they announce being out the door.
Says here, the two leading candidates to become Disney's next CEO, according to analysis tracking the situation, are Josh D'Amaro, chairman of Disney Experiences, who oversees the company's parks, cruises, and consumer products. That actually makes some sense. And Dana Walden, co-chairman of Disney Entertainment, whose purview includes the global streaming business. Oh, no. For what it's worth, online betting markets are heavily favoring D'Amaro. Don't put the person in charge of streaming. That's been The Wall Street Journal report also said Iger has told several associates that he would like to spend more of his time and energy on other things, such as sailing his new and larger super yacht, the Aquarius. Good for you, Bob.
Yeah.
Seriously, who talks like this?
Rich people that have completely lost the plot.
Rich people and supervillains in Bond movies. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Like Largo had a yacht. In addition, Iger, he said he wants to dedicate more time working with his wife, Willow Bay, who is a dean of USC Annenberg School for Communication and Journalism, and on what? And on Angel City FC, the women's soccer team, the comp bought a controlling stake in 2 years ago. I didn't even know women's soccer was the. Never mind. You know what? I'll be good. Okay. Iger, after I heard of women's basketball, I didn't know there was soccer. Okay, Iger, after serving as CEO of Disney for 15 years, previously retired at the end of 2021, placed by then CEO Bob Chapek. But in November 2022, the board ousted Chapek and brought Iger back as chief executive. I loved when that story broke. You were not happy.
Yeah.
You were like Disney's son. So, what's your opinion on this, though? You think Disney things are gonna go all right?
Nothing's going to change. He's already picked his replacement. I got to almost say the same thing here that I did about Kathleen Kennedy. Nothing's going to change. He's already picked his successor. You know, old boss same as new boss same as the old boss.
Or it could be worse. There's always the potential for this.
I am not clear on how it could be any worse.
You're like Caesar in Conquest of the Planet of the Apes when he says, and he's like an emperor, you know, for better or for worse. Caesar, he says, could it be any worse? He says, you know, about the apes running the world versus the humans. It's just
right.
All right, but of course we have some other Disney news here. Apparently, Disney slipped significant year to year in original content and streaming viewership market share. You know
wow, who could have seen this coming? Really? Oh, that's right, all of us.
I'm curious, and maybe you can answer this question for me, but I was a television watcher for a long time. I argued I came from a television household. We'd always watch shows every week, movies, and all this other content. And of course, now it's all about content. But I wonder if because of streaming and everything else, do we have less content now than we did 20 years ago? I think we do.
Yeah, there's probably something to be said for that. Just look at the length of the
series.
Now.
They're like 6 episodes or something. That's
yeah.
It's like England. What are you doing?
Honestly, it's kind of lazy. You know, it's kind of lazy.
I've often determined that the 6-episode TV series are basically movies they stretched out to 6 episodes. They were probably movie ideas. Disney's share of total U.S. TV viewing has slipped over the past year in Nielsen's media distributor gouge, and the details of what did drive Disney's viewing make the bigger story pretty clear. Disney is leaning harder on sports and seasonal library programming, while the industry's biggest originals gravity is increasingly pulling elsewhere. Nielsen's media distributor gouge. An expansion of the couch. Okay. That rolls up broadcast cable streaming viewing and TV usage by distributor is designed to show where audiences spend their time across the full TV screen ecosystem, not just streaming subscriptions or social buzz. That makes the useful share of an attention scoreboard for who is winning minutes month after month. The year-over-year share moved Disney down, not up. It's according to that Park Place. That's where we're getting this from. In the Disney 2024 media distribution gauge, I keep wanting to say gouge because I feel Disney's gouging my eyes out.
I mean, you're not wrong there.
Disney ranked number 1 with 11.2% of total TV usage. 1 year later, in December 2025, media distributor was number 2 at 10.7%. That's a 0.5% point decline year over year, and one of the most content-heavy, TV-heavy months on the calendar. Yeah, but Wonder Man hasn't premiered yet.
Yeah, and everyone's just, all agog waiting for that one. Right?
I thought that was a joke.
It's already been released, hasn't it?
Maybe it has. I think it would be brilliant if, like, Wonder Man, it was like the only Marvel thing they released that was, and it's like excellent, but like nobody was watching it because of the reputation of everything else, including maybe the comic it's based on. It would be funny if like this was actually like a brilliant show and nobody watched it.
I don't know if the comic was any good or not. I just remember I was in grade school and I was just getting into comics and discovering that there was a Wonder Man, but it was Marvel and not DC. And I'm like, and even as a kid, I knew, okay, this is just Marvel creating a character so that DC can't do it.
Yes. Yeah, basically. Yeah. Because, okay, that's a 0.5 share decline year over year in one of the most content-heavy TV months on the calendar. What Disney's viewing growth is actually coming from. The Disney 2020 report, explicit why Disney improved month to month, was fueled by ESPN with major football lifts. Of course, it's sports. People are still watching
Right.
sports. Okay. Bluey is big.
Right. Another thing that Disney doesn't
They
actually
don't own that. I think that's an
create. Yeah,
Australian. That's an
exactly.
Australian thing they license, correct? Yeah. Top original of the year was Stranger Things on Netflix, so it wasn't anything to do with Disney. But to be fair, what did
Yep.
Disney have like last year?
Nothing. Everything that they have, they destroy.
They had
So,
Andor season 2. I guess that was their most buzzed thing. I think, right? Yeah.
yeah. And even that's kind of on going down. People are losing interest in Star Wars overall. You know, it's like Andor is the best of a dying franchise.
Apparently, the King of the Hill reboot was apparently a streaming sensation, yet it cannot lift whatever's dragging down Disney. That's because Mike Judd is still in charge of the stuff he owns, so he supervised that, and he's an old school creator. So let's see. Overall, TV ecosystem is more streaming dominant than ever. Well, of course, it's more. We did a whole thing on Friday last call about the state of just network television. It was abysmal. It was like a wasteland, and I kept thinking, who was watching this stuff at this point? I guess it's the people that don't stream. Let's see. Wonder Man debuted on the 27th, and a lot of people are saying it's an okay show, but not a superhero show. I mean, like I said, maybe if they just went with the fact that it's just ridiculous. I mean, I didn't read the comic, but it's like, I don't know. That's why I'm thinking.
I'm not even sure that Wonder Man had his own comic. I think he was just a character that appeared in other people's comics.
So what, he would show up in like Iron Fist?
Yeah, and I think he was like, well, he would be like a member of the, I don't know, Avengers West Coast. Avengers,
it would be the Defenders West Coast, not the.
Whatever, right. Yeah, something.
The ones that can't make it into the regular Defenders, who aren't even the Avengers. You understand? There you go. They did that on Teen Titans. They were coming up with I think Titans East. And it was being made up of, instead of Robin, you had Speedy, who was of course Green Arrow's sidekick.
Right.
So he was one of the members of Titans East, and I think Bumblebee was another member, and Mas y Minos, they were the other ones, and they always spoke Spanish. So and they didn't subtitle on the show. I just had to assume what they were saying. You know? But,
right.
So yeah, Infinity Gauntlet was canceled before the end of Infinity Crusade. Oh, that must have been a comic book thing. All right. So there's Disney. I don't know, man. I feel like Disney isn't interesting enough to talk about. Maybe when they get their new leader.
No. Yeah.
I'm curious to see how Doomsday is going to do, which I guess brings us to our next article.
Yeah.
Mass layoffs hit Avengers Doomsday production company as Russo brothers cut 50% of the staff. WTF? What's going on here? Wait a minute.
Let's dig into it, but I have my suspicions.
What the fudge is what I want to say. Okay, just so you know. We're a family show.
Okay.
As Marvel, we'll talk about Faces of Death in a little bit. Okay. As Marvel Studio ramps up production on Avengers Doomsday, one of the film's key production partners is quietly shedding staff with mass layoffs. AGVO, the independent studio founded by Joe and Anthony Russo, has confirmed layoffs impacting roughly 15% of its workforce, about 20 employees, according to a report from Deadline. The move comes as the Russo brothers are actively developing Marvel's next major ensemble blockbuster, raising uncomfortable questions about priorities, studio bloat, and the current economics of Hollywood's blockbuster machine. While AGDBO has framed the decision as a realignment, the timing places these Avengers Doomsday layoffs squarely in the middle of Marvel's most high-profile production push since Avengers Endgame. Per Deadline, AGBO's workforce has grown more than 130 employees prior to the cuts. The layoffs reportedly affected approximately 20 staffers, with most of the reductions occurring at the middle management level. The company has not publicly detailed which departments were impacted, nor has it released an official statement beyond characterizing the move as a restructuring intended to position the studio for long-term sustainability. The language has become familiar across Hollywood over the past 2 years as studios, large and small, attempt to walk back aggressive expansion that occurred during the peak of the streaming wars. Okay, so they hired people they shouldn't have hired during the streaming thing, and now they have to cut the fat. Is that what's going on here?
Yeah, I am going to do a little bit of speculating about what's not written here. I think that there's a lot of contraction going on in entertainment in general. I think that there's a lot of pressure to, I mean, rightly so. It's been a long time coming, of getting right size in their budgets, and I think there's been a lot of bloat. So I think that there's that. There's been the push from SAG-AFTRA to uh, higher wages, more compensation. Concerns about this, that, and the other. Well, that stuff takes its toll. Fine, you're going to make more, but there's going to be less of you.
No more catering tables that cost the price of an episode of Battlestar Galactica.
Right.
Supposedly, if I'm going by what Katie Sackhoff was saying, but
I think she was exaggerating, but she was calling out something that I think she definitely saw.
let me read this real quick, though. Part of the article, Hollywood's middle management problem. One recurring theme in recent layoffs across entertainment is targeting of middle management. Studios built sprawling hierarchies during the streaming boom, layering executive titles, coordinators, and development roles on top of one another in anticipation of nonstop content pipeline. Now that those pipelines have slowed or collapsed entirely, these roles are increasingly viewed as expendable. The Avengers Doomsday layoffs fit neatly in that pattern, reinforcing the sense that Hollywood has been belatedly correcting for years of unchecked expansion rather than responding to short-term downturn. I remember, and everybody was throwing money at streaming, and it's like not everyone can be number one in these fights.
Right.
I think number one ended up being Netflix.
And I don't think there was enough business acumen on any of the companies, almost any of the companies, to make a streaming service work. You needed to be ready to do 100% of everything all along. If you had the money to spend, you had to outspend everyone. If you had the most content, you needed all of that content on your platform. And we said this about Disney at the beginning of the streaming wars. We said Disney is positioned to turn themselves into a streaming giant. And it's like they literally made all the wrong decisions. They had all of this.
They owned Fox. They own the whole Fox back catalog.
They own libraries from Fox. They own their own libraries. And so much of it is not available anywhere because sometimes it's because they don't like the old material. They don't want it to, it's the Song of the South problem, right? And it's not just that. It's so many other things. And it's like, no, I don't care. If you got to put your little disclaimer on it, put your freaking disclaimer on it, get it on your platform and say, look, you have the entire back catalog of all Disney shows ever made. You have the entire back catalog of all of Fox library ever made. You have more options than any other streaming service out there. Come join us. If there's only one streaming service you can have, make it Disney Plus. That is how they should have gone after this, and they did not. Further, the most desired franchises, the Marvel, the Star Wars, the Muppets, all of this stuff, they literally destroyed from the inside out so that nobody cared about them anymore.
They're going to be tackling the X-Files next. I'm really worried. Anyway,
I mean, they're really starting to scrape the bottom of the barrel for things they can destroy. So what haven't we destroyed? The X-Files? Did this have yeah, there was a lot of people that liked it. Okay, let's ruin that now.
It had a fanatical fan base. I mean, it's almost, I don't know if it's quite up there like with Star Trek, but they even had a name for themselves. They were called X-Files with PH instead of being F. You understand? It had a following back in the day, but Marilyn Monroe's are not being repressed on DVD, etc. They're not, but I can tell you other Fox movies. I remember when Disney bought Fox, and I was looking at Shout Factory because Shout Factory did a lot of Fox movie re-releases, and I'm like, All right, what do they own that I know Disney's going to bury? And then I looked at the synopsis of this one movie, a supernatural thriller called The Entity with Barbara Hershey.
Uh-huh.
Just read the plot of The Entity, and I knew Disney was going to bury this thing. They don't want that
Yeah.
anywhere near their brand, and because of the subject matter. And
Right.
I do have the Blu-ray. I lost the case for it, unfortunately, during the flood, but I kept the Blu-ray. I cleaned it off, so it's in a binder somewhere. But just own physical media, as we say, because they will try to take it away from you.
Exactly right.
And I'm terrified if Netflix buys Warner Brothers, those are being harder to find as well.
Yeah.
Moving on to
The Muppets.
Yeah, they're bringing the Muppet Show back, and I want to be positive, but
again, Disney.
Maya Rudolph joins Sabrina Carpenter and Seth Rogen in Disney Plus Muppet Show. How does Seth Rogen has his hands in every piece of wholesome entertainment he gets? Why is he?
No idea.
He did that horrible Santa Claus puppet animated show for HBO that was a disgrace.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be let near a children's property. And I guess the Muppets are sort of maybe, I don't know. ABC and Disney Plus have unveiled a new trailer for the Muppet Show forthcoming special, a reboot of the classic series. In it, we get a glimpse of Maya Rudolph, who was joined as a guest star alongside previously announced Sabrina Carpenter and Seth Rogen, who also serves as executive producer. The special premiere will premiere on both ABC and Disney Plus February 4th. Dude, you can watch it if you tune into ABC.
There you go.
Coinciding with the 50th anniversary of the original series, The Muppet Show returns to Disney Plus. Rudolph is seen sitting in the audience with a Muppet in the trailer. Yes, as Deadline reported last September, the Variety special serves as a backdoor pilot, and in success would spawn a new Muppet Show television series. So if people watch this, we will get more episodes of the Muppet Show. It's the return of the Muppet Show back on the very stage where it all started and then ended, and is maybe starting again depending on how it goes. Kermit says in the clip. That was kind of funny. The trailer expands on the teaser, which opens with Rolf at the piano. Have you been playing the whole time? Kermit asks. Well, what do you think it was? Some kind of sentimental montage in your head? I'm doing the show again, Frank. Yeah, because he thought it was like me. Yeah. The original Muppet Show, created by Jim Henson, ran from 1976 to 1981. Okay, I got the dates wrong. And aired in over 100 countries and featured notable guests including Elton John, Johnny Cash, Diana Ross, Debbie Harry, Gladys Knight, Liza Minnelli, Paul Simon, and many others. All 5 seasons are currently available to stream on Disney+. From 20th Television, Disney branded television, The Muppet Studio, and Point Grey Pictures. The special is directed by Alex Timbers, who also serves as executive producer. Rogan, Goldberg, James Weaver, and Alex McAtee are the producers from Point Grey Pictures. And I guess Sabrina Carpenter is going to be the music guest, like on the old series. You a fan of hers?
I have no idea who she is.
She's a pop star. She's not quite at the level of a Taylor Swift. I think she's another one of these ones that was on a Disney or a Nickelodeon series. And she,
yeah, I have no idea who she is. I'm sure she's just fine.
Okay, but Seth Rogen gets all these deals because, okay, well, I'm not going to repeat that on the air. Geek flag. I keep thinking he's got dirt on people, but I don't know if that's the case, you know? What do you think?
Yeah, it's got to be something like that. It's always who, you know. It's always, and you know what? Here's though. You compare this picture of Miss Piggy to the pictures in the previous. Yeah, you can see the difference, and it's definitely in the eyes.
Yeah,
her eyes got bigger and more of a pseudo smoky look.
Yes. I don't know. I want it to be good, but it's Disney.
Right.
I guess we'll find out what happens in the trades. Just make it harmless and wholesome and funny. Just do that. Can you do that? And just lay off the other stuff.
This was funny. Yeah.
Bill Maher says
wrong.
Hollywood hurting.
Literally, Boomer sends me this article to add to the notes, and I sent back the
Morgan Freeman.
the meme of Morgan Freeman. He's right, you know.
Bill Maher says Hollywood hurting Democratic Party. Just shut the F up. Okay.
Yeah.
Bill Maher blaming Hollywood again for the faltering Democratic Party, telling California's new daily newspaper in an interview centered around the current political climate at it's time for Tinseltown politically outspoken lead to shut the F up. Maher, who celebrated his 70th birthday last week, has been a party agnostic political comic and agitator for decades. What do you mean party agnostic? He supported Obama's campaign. I know he did. He said it on air.
They're referring to the fact that even though everyone knows he's a Democrat, he is far closer to the center than most of the modern Democrats.
Fine. I can agree with that. Okay. He hosted HBO's late night half-hour political talk show, Politically Correct, from 93 to 2002, and the cable channel's political panel, Real Time with Bill Maher, from 2003. It wasn't HBO's late night half-hour political talk show. I think it was ABC or NBC or one of those channels. As a resident of Beverly Hills who was frequently brings actors, filmmakers, and other key industry players onto his show, the comic has a front row seat to Hollywood's happenings and says it's time for celebrities to step back if they want Democrats to oust Republicans. Hollywood is sort of the epicenter of the woke left. I don't think they're doing the Democratic Party any favors, he told the New York Post offshoot the California Post. I think if Democrats want to win elections in the future, job one, tell the celebrities to just shut the F up. You're not helping. You don't strike people, and most of the country is sensible or in touch with reality. It's funny, the Hunger Games actress, the one who said she was the first action star, she I
can't even remember her damn name.
No, but she was making a point that you don't do the politics like you used to. Says, I don't think it's working, she said.
Yeah.
Like, I think she realized that, I think what she was almost admitting to, like, maybe we're having the opposite effect. Like, we tell people to vote Democrat, they vote Republican just because they just out of spite with us. So,
right.
That's why she said she's not going to be as political as she was, at least not in public. He says California could stand for a lot more centrist policies, he said. It's not a good thing when one party completely controls anything. That's certainly true of Republicans also, who are drunk with power in Washington, overstep the bounds and doing things that are not making them unpopular. I would love to see both sides marginalize their crazies. Maher also chimed in on L.A. Mayor Karen Bass, who has entered the fourth year in office and is getting mixed reviews with approval ratings in the low 40s. Do I think she's done a great job? No, but all cities are messy, he said. Okay, this is more political stuff right here, but I just thought that was interesting. On ABC Network before they hired Jimmy Kimmel. That's what they had before Jimmy Kimmel. Okay, because I used to watch Politically Incorrect, and he got canceled. And not like his show got canceled, like the network canceled him because he made... Right. His statement was, he said that the 9/11 terrorists were brave because of what, but he wasn't saying that they were good people, but he was saying that it must have taken courage to do what they did. And I think he got canceled for that, even, and that's what he got canceled over.
Yeah.
It's like he wasn't agreeing with their actions. He was just making a point about what they were doing. And I think that got him canceled. And that's when he ended up on HBO a while later. But I remember that happened. I remember his final episode. Ann Coulter was one of the people on his final episode because she always supported him, even though she didn't agree with his politics, which I thought was interesting. But
yeah.
Moving on to Donald Trump reiterates plans for film tariffs on non-U.S. movies.
We don't have to spend a lot of time on this. I did talk about this a bit last week on what's it called?
Liquid Lunch.
Liquid Lunch. Honestly, I still, and if you want to read into the article, you can.
It's okay. We can.
But bottom line is that there's still, and I said this at the time he first said it. Calling it a tariff is a bad idea. Right now, his entire tariff policy is going up to SCOTUS. I think he's got a strong case for some of his use of tariffs, but because of a lot of dumb decisions, ill-advised decisions that he's made, I think he's going to get slapped down by SCOTUS, which is going to hurt him overall in his use of tariffs. And this does not help. I think he is using the term tariff when he should have used taxes. He should have said, we are going to tax any, movie that's made overseas or, that doesn't follow a certain way, whatever. It's effectively a tariff, but legally speaking, it's not a tariff, and that he has the legal right to do. I don't think you can tariff something that isn't an import, that isn't an actual good.
Because,
you can't tariff a service.
well, let me try to put this in the context. For instance, the Warner Brothers The Batman movie, which was shot over in London, that would be something that would be considered a tariff movie because it wasn't made in the United States, even though because it was shot overseas.
Yeah.
Or is he talking about actual foreign films, like an English movie that was made in England?
He means anything that's made outside the United States that should have been made here in the United States.
This doesn't sound. All right, because there's a difference, because like you could still sometimes they go overseas and they go to the other places because of tax incentives.
And therein lies the problem. And that's why, like I said, if you put a tax on things made outside the United States and what stick and carrot, right? The carrot is lower the taxes for films made here in the United States, especially in California. Although that is something he's been talking about. That's the way you do it.
I mean, I don't know. I keep hearing they're going to be. They still haven't. Has Hollywood left California yet, or are they still? I mean, I guess productions are still happening.
Let me speak to this. You have to understand that really the president's right to do anything is very limited when it comes to money.
Right.
He is able to, for example, any money that's been allocated to the executive branch by Congress, he has the right to say, you know what, we're not going to spend that. I'm not going to spend this money on this executive branch. In fact, I'm going to fire a bunch of people from. He has the right to do that. He has certain rights in tariffs to say for the good of national security. They're basically when they're waging a war of finance, in an unfair way. He has certain rights in terms of tariffs. You're right, though. Taxation is supposed to be allocated by Congress, and we wouldn't even be having this conversation if the party in charge right now of both houses would get their damn heads out of their asses and start working with their president instead of against him.
Well, it's funny because I was watching a Bill O'Reilly clip this week, and he was saying one of the reasons why you get all these executive decisions because you send something to Congress and they argue about it for like a year and don't do anything.
Right.
But the Batman was filmed in Edinburgh, Scotland. I thought it was London. Maybe I got mixed up. I mean, that's a big difference between London, England, and Edinburgh, right?
I mean, it is to them, yeah.
Two different countries, yes. But for some reason I thought it was London.
But I mean, it's like saying it's a big difference between an American and a Canadian. I think people in Europe are going to go, really? Is it that big a difference?
It's all in the it's all in how you say a boot.
A boot,
About,
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Well, in fairness, most of Canada does say about. Except for the ones that speak French.
I don't know, man. I hear someone talking on YouTube, but then they say something like Canadian. Yeah, it was weird. Exactly. Back in the 80s, we didn't know that Canadians were not something that really existed for most Americans. We weren't in touch with them.
We just assumed they were Americans.
It was kind of funny.
Or they were from North Dakota.
A coworker at my job, she lived in both Canada and the United States. Like she would go back and forth in like the 80s and 90s, and basically from the sound of it, Canadian television was terrible. It was almost like the British system.
They did have SCTV.
They did, but they didn't have the number of channels we had. I think maybe things got better if you had cable over there, but yeah, it just was not good. Okay. Melania Trump and Brett Ratner break silence on making their controversial $75 million documentary. This I find interesting because I did not. I think I saw a trailer for this before I watched that Sydney Sweeney movie that came out recently, The Housemate. And they had a trailer, and I kept thinking that this was going to be like one of those Fathom events, like where they only do it like one night of the month or something. But apparently, no, this was a regular release, and this is interesting me for a couple reasons. One, Brett Ratner, he kind of got he got caught up in the Me Too movement, where I think women accused him. I thought his career was done. I remember Gal Gadot said she wouldn't. I think he was set to produce on one of the Wonder Woman sequels. She says, "I'm not going to work with him, so get him off the thing." So I thought his career was done, but I guess he's. I guess when you're around the outs with Hollywood, you can go and help out the first lady with something.
I suppose,
they started arriving shortly after sundown. Wave after wave, black SUVs rolling up the waterfront entrance to Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., loading a guest list that looks less like a movie debut and more like a MAGA cabinet meeting. Of course, this is what the Hollywood Reporter that did this. But apparently Nicki Minaj was at this event, too, so that's interesting. But they said it brings back the glamour you don't see anymore. The president said to reporters in praise of his wife's film before the curtain was raised. Our country can use a little bit of that right now. So let me see here. But of course, Melania is hardly the first lady to invite cameras into her home for a documentary. It's a tradition that goes back to Jackie Kennedy, who famously gave CBS's Charles Collingwood a televised tour of the White House in 1962. Pat Nixon, Nancy Reagan, Hillary Clinton, Laura Bush, Michelle Obama, they all appeared in documentaries while they were still in office. I believe this is another quote, I believe the Americans, people over the world, should witness the incredible amount of planning and work required when shifting from private citizen to First Lady. Melania explains on why she made the movie in an email that she and someone on her staff sent to the Hollywood Reporter in response to a series of questions. I take pride in every detail. Let me see. She had a theatrical big screen vision for the film right from the start, Ratner says, of the aesthetic and inspiration for the movie during a phone call just hours before attending the premiere, where he sat in the audience with his mom right next to the First Lady's father, Victor Navs, who makes many, mostly silent appearances in her movie. Melania didn't want a documentary. She didn't want a talking heads. She said, Brett, don't hold back. And what's interesting about this movie is apparently it's doing very well at the box office. Do you mind if I go to the next article? Let me do that.
No, go for it.
Yeah, let's do this. Melania outperforms in Red Zone cinemas with A cinema score and best opening for a documentary in decades with 7 million box office. People went out to see this. Let me get into this. And frankly, however you feel about the president, I always feel that first ladies should be left alone unless they really do get involved politically with things, So, and I feel Melania was trashed, especially during the first term, and I was not happy about that.
Right.
But Melania, was it packed houses or empty auditoriums used by group sales? See, look at this. That's the obsession over the opening of Amazon MGM Studios' 75 million First Lady Melania documentary from director Brett Ratner, which debuted at 7 million, the biggest opening for a nonfiction feature in the last decade, outstripping Angel Studios' 2023 title After Death, 5 million opening, and ahead of the doc's 5 million forecast. The per theater average was 3,096. Amazon MGM Studios isn't expected to report foreign box office, but when we get our hands on some figures, we'll let you know. Understand the following: when a movie goes out on close to 1,800 runs, it has the potential to do 30 million. Melania's opening is above the recent norms for documentaries, but not to a crazy degree. Read Am I Racist? A recent conservative nonfiction pick distributed by SDG Releasing, which opened to 4.5 million mid-December. Was that the Matt Walsh documentary?
I think so. Yeah.
Melania crushed it exactly where she was supposed to in red zone counties per box office metrics core and intelligence. Of her 600,000 admissions, 53% from theaters in red zones. What is red zone?
No
Don't
idea.
tell me that's like red state. That's what they're saying for red state. versus 40% in blue. Note she had more program seats heading into the weekend in blue over red. Okay, Melania overperformed in Texas and Florida, where Donald Trump's constituency lies, with a number of cities in the Sunshine State popping in the top 10. When do we ever see Fort Myers, Naples in the top 10? That's funny. Okay, considering that's more in my neck of the woods. But anyway, all right. So yeah. All right. So I guess congratulations to the First Lady and to Brett Ratner, who I admitted I was never a huge fan of. He did the Rush Hour movies. Remember the Rush Hour movies?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. But he got caught up in the Me Too thing, and I thought his career was done, but maybe he'll have a second career doing documentaries about first ladies and other political figures. I don't know. But yeah, I don't see much of Donald's wife. Well, I don't know if she stays out of the limelight. I mean, I'll be honest with you, the media completely took any opportunity to trash her, especially Colbert. He was the worst. But yeah, but okay. I just thought it was interesting. That's all. Anyway, all right, moving on. Red zones are big cities in California, New York, Minneapolis. Okay, thank you, because I was about. Okay, thank you for clearing that for me, Lynn Green. All right. Oh, we get out of that. The final problem. Faces of Death.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me read this. Apparently, this trailer. Okay, Faces of Death teaser, long delayed remake set for April release. Apparently, this teaser was too hot for YouTube, because I went to click on the teaser and YouTube put up a nasty message saying this video has violated terms of service. Like, it's a movie trailer, YouTube.
Wow. Yeah.
Filmed back in 2023, the long-delayed Faces of Death remake is finally coming to theaters on April 10th. The news comes in the form of a teaser video for the meta take on the notorious 1978 Mondo horror cult classic. It revolves around a moderator of a video website whose job is to weed out offensive and violent content. Recovering from a serious trauma herself, she stumbles across a group that is recreating the murders from the original Faces of Death. But in the story primed for the age of online misinformation, the question faced is, are the murders real or fake? This sounds kind of interesting, I have to admit.
I'm starting to wonder if this whole thing of I wonder if they're trying to revive the whole controversy about the original Faces of Death by making it, saying that there's a trailer out there and people not being able to see it because it violates terms of service. Right. That it's just like the original Faces of Death.
So you're thinking that maybe this was a thing on YouTube with them doing something.
It could be intentional, yeah.
Maybe they figured out something in the video they could stick in there would trigger the bot, but it's not really offensive. I don't know. But it says Faces of Death was one of the first viral videotapes, and we are lucky to be able to use it as a jumping off point for this exploration of cycles of violence and the way they perpetuate themselves online. Goldhaber and Mazzy previously said Face of Death is R-rated for strong bloody violence and gore, sexual content, nudity, language, and drug use. Wow, you really run the gamut there.
I guess, yeah.
And you know there'll be an unrated version on video. Okay, but I don't know. I remember though you had mentioned what was it, Cannibal Holocaust?
Yeah.
I actually watched that movie for the first time like a couple years ago, and that movie, after watching it, put me in a bad way. Like, it actually put me in a bad mood, which I thought was interesting, because usually movies, even if I don't like the movie, I just brush it off. That one actually kind of affected me. That movie got into huge trouble in Italy when it came out, because they thought the footage they used in it was real. They were hauling the directors in front of courts over in Italy. This is Italy, and I think Italy, they're probably the most... I mean, you'd be surprised what they would put in Italian movies, but apparently even the Italian censors thought this was too much, and they were very angry about that.
I will say this, however. In fact, Booger says maybe the marketing team paid YouTube to ban the video. It may not even be that overt. I think there really is some stuff in this trailer that looks incredibly graphic, and I think it really does break the terms of service with YouTube. I think it's absolutely legit, but I think they intentionally put the trailer together that way with the intent that that's what would happen.
Maybe. Interesting. But it's Europe. They have yes, but you have to understand though, Booger. In Europe,
He's
though,
quoting a movie there. He's quoting a movie there. He's
Oh,
just
okay.
making a joke.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see. I didn't realize. I didn't.
Yeah.
What movie's that from?
It's from Eurotrip.
Oh, I didn't realize. Okay,
Yep.
because they tend to be more censorious on violence, though. I think like Italy
And the fact is that the trailer for, if you can find it, it's difficult to find because most of the places sharing it are trying to share the YouTube
right,
link, and so it's a broken link, but it's pretty violent, and I'm going to assume it's just like the original where it was all staged and fake, but it looks pretty damn real to me.
Looks real.
Yeah.
New Scream 7 trailer unleashes pure terror on Sidney Prescott's family. Scream is back. Again.
Yeah.
Just when you thought it was safe to pick up the phone, Ghostface is back in a new trailer for Scream 7. Nev Campbell returns to the immortal slasher franchise in its latest installment, which promises to be the ultimate culmination of the series. They always do. Scream 7 will cut its way into theaters on February 27th, 2026. The new teaser opens with a blast from the past as a rapid-fire montage of clips from previous Scream film plays, all featuring the series' trademark calls from the sardonic Ghostface. The unlucky recipients include Drew Barrymore, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and Campbell Sidney Prescott from back in the original film. Flash forward 30 years into the future, and Ghostface, still voiced by the inimitable
Yep.
Roger L. Jackson, is calling Sidney again. Whoever he is this time, he's been planning this for a while, and he's going to use Sidney's daughter, Isabel May, who's now the same age Sidney was in the first time she faced off against a killer, as this instrument of vengeance. So now she has a teenage daughter that's her age in the original movie. But don't worry, he won't hurt her until Sidney's there to see it. Who is the masked man or woman this time around? You'll have to catch Scream 7 when it hits theaters next month. In addition to Campbell, several familiar faces will be turning up in Scream 7. Courtney Cox will return as reporter Gail Weathers, who is, with Sidney, a survivor of the original film. Returning from the 5th and 6th installments are Yasmin Savoy Brown and Mason Gooding as the twins, Mindy and Chad. They were they're the children of the sister of Randy, you know, the guy from was his name, Randy, from the first film, who was murdered in the second film. Never mind.
I guess so.
The
yeah.
film bro guy who kept quoting all the stuff. Yeah. Also returning despite being long dead and buried are former Ghostfaces Stu Macker, Matthew Lillard, and Roman Bridger, Scott Foley. David Arquette is also set to return as Dewey Riley, who was killed off in 2022's Scream. How can he return if he was killed off?
There's a lot of ways. There's
No. Okay.
There's what do they call flashbacks? There's dream sequences. There's hallucinations, and of course, there's always the I didn't actually die. You know, I died off camera or whatever.
I suppose it was sort of a spoiler. I guess I just did a spoiler for Scream 5, which was just labeled Scream because I think they were doing that as a takeoff of, you know, you always have to kill a legacy character, how like they killed Han Solo at the beginning of the Force Awakens. It's like, which legacy character will we kill off? And, you know, Scream 7 is directed by Kevin Williamson, who penned the first, second, and fourth installments of the series. It is his first time directing for the franchise. That's kind of interesting. They got the writer back to direct it. Because, of course, Wes Craven used to direct them too, but then he passed away. So, I mean, this might be good. The film has a messy genesis behind the scenes. Melissa Barrera, who starred in the previous two films, was set to star, but was dropped by the studio after denouncing Israelis' actions in the Gaza war. Subsequently, co-star Jenna Ortega and director Christopher Landon left the film as well. Jenna Ortega, I think, left for other reasons. I think she wanted to focus on her other parts of her career right now.
She is a little busy. That's true.
But it's funny though because they
Every
didn't have.
Wednesday.
Every Wednesday. Yes, exactly.
Well, it's funny because they didn't have Nev Campbell in the last movie because I think she got annoyed that they didn't want to pay her the money, and now I think they had to run back to Nev Campbell and probably pay her the money she wanted. Now that they had to get rid of the sort of the replacement character Melissa Barrera played, so they had to run back to Nev Campbell again. So it's just kind of interesting, and yeah, I don't know. Might be good. In fact, you can tell, like in the last Scream movie they did, that the character that would have been played by Nev Campbell, they got Hayden Panettiere back. She was in Scream 4. She was one of the characters in Scream 4, so they used her in the Scream. They used her as a legacy character instead of Sidney Prescott. But
Yeah.
I think the best ones are still Scream 4 I enjoyed, and I think the Scream reboot one, which they did. And we'll see how this one turns out. But I don't know. I kind of like this series. I know some people are over it, but I have fun with it. I don't like how audience expect a character to die. Isn't plot convenience just as bad as plot armor? I mean, I think so. That was one of my problems with the last Scream movie. Was I think certain characters had plot armor because they didn't want to kill off a lot of the newer established characters. So it did feel like they had kind of plot armor in the last movie. But moving on to and this is a tie-in. Apparently, there is now a Ghostface inspired vodka coming from Matthew Lillard's Macabre Spirits. Did you know that Matthew Lillard had a line of alcohol that he sells?
I did not, but good for him. I'm glad he does.
Of course, if you
I wonder if he's got. I'm gonna have to look into his company because I wonder if he's got a Twin Peaks themed drink as well.
Correct, because he was on Twin Peaks: The Return, and we'll eventually get to his episodes again. But he was a good actor, actually. I like Matthew Lillard. He was the voice of Shaggy in Scooby-Doo for a long time too. He would do the. I think he actually played him in the live-action movie, actually, and then they just kept using his voice in the cartoons.
Yep.
But this one's going to be a real Scream baby. Ahead of the release of Scream 7, our friends at Fangoria are reporting today that the original Scream star Matthew Lillard's horror-themed distilling imprint Macabre Spirits is releasing a Ghostface-inspired vodka. Crafted from 100% non-GMO German potatoes, this spirit promises to be as smooth and strong as a blade and comes in an exclusive collectible set with a bottle hand-signed by the original Ghostface himself. It'll cost you $160 bottle. Expensive, but worth it for a drink with the Masked Slasher. Fans will receive a limited edition premium box for their purchase that features the signed bottle, custom Ghostface glassware, special pin, and a party game called Killer Bash. It's always a party when Ghostface is around. This sounds kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
You get like a whole Scream themed bar. Said Lillard on IG, I am incredibly proud to finally introduce Ghostface Vodka by Macabre Spirits. We wanted to create a spirit that honors the legacy of Ghostface while standing on its own as a premium top shelf vodka. The bar card just got a lot more killer. Who's ready for a drink? The collectible boxes will be extremely limited, so act fast by visiting.
I am looking at his website, and it looks sharp. It is absolutely these are spirits. Spirits, I'm sure, is an intentional double entendre for people that are into horror. Absolutely, this is very, very interesting. Some great recipes available here. Oh, this is where you want to shop come Halloween time for your Halloween parties. Hell is not mocked.
German potatoes, so potatoes. They're not Idaho, I can tell you that much.
Hell is not mocked. A Texas bourbon whiskey. Our second release brings a new spirit and a new story. A bold limited edition whiskey, rich with leather and oak, paired with a dark Western Gothic tale. Something terrifying is coming. Best face it with a strong pour at hand. Wow.
This sounds really cool.
And it comes with a short story by Christopher Bueman. They're really doing this right.
This sounds interesting. Like you get your alcohol and you get like some horror fiction with it.
Yes.
This is clever.
Wait, what's this one? Rare, Fine, and Limited Macabre Spirit. Yeah, Rare, Fine, and Limited is a barrel-aged Sotol from the dark imagination of fright icon Matthew. Oh, I'd forgotten. Yeah. Scream, Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah. And screenwriter Justin Ware, Bloodsucking Bastards, comes the first release from the world's only spirit brand made by and for devotees.
Or themes that are not necessarily tied to a franchise. That's an idea. Okay. All right, cool.
They've got really, really cool accoutrement like glasses and shakers. And what is this? The Grave. This is a recipe. Wow. Oh, guys, it's definitely worth checking out.
You could have the Ring Girl, and it could be a sake. Because Japan, I'm sorry. What else do they drink in Japan? I don't know, but I'm just like I'm trying to think of different genres of horror or something.
Sapporo, yeah, and what's that plum wine? Plum wine. Yeah.
Plum wine. Okay, cool. You could have a Medusa theme one for something Greek, right? It's just I don't know. All right.
Horrorwood Reserve. Oh my gosh.
You're going to bookmark that site, aren't you?
Booze. You're never going to get them off
that one is sold out. That one you can't even order anymore. Wow.
It's interesting. Maybe he's got drink recipes on there too, huh?
He does. He has a bunch of them.
You can try making some
really
of these around Halloween time.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, sounds fun. I mean, good on Matthew Lillard. I like Matthew Lillard.
Me too.
He's okay. He was good on Twin Peaks too. So there we go.
Yes, he was.
Oh no! The real horror has begun. In our Misc section, which is okay. Why Starfleet Academy turned Klingons into polyamorous refugees.
Because they hate the fans. They're trying to push an agenda.
Didn't they already make the Romulans refugees? And
everybody's a refugee.
And the Borg were refugees too?
Mm-hmm.
And they all hated Picard because why?
They want to keep telling the same stories over and over again and keep hitting you over the head with the same messages over and over and over again.
Klingons are one of the most iconic species in Star Trek, attracting a hugely dedicated fan base who admire their complex culture and even learn their language. I don't know anyone like that. Anyway,
yeah.
The portrayal of Klingons has changed dramatically over the past 6 years, moving from a Cold War era stand-in for the Russians to noble warriors who could be the fiercest allies in any conflict. Starfleet Academy is reimagining them again in Episode 4, Vox in Excelso, which airs January 29th. In the original Star Trek and the prequels to Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Strange New Worlds, the Klingon Empire is portrayed as a fierce adversary of the United Federation of Planets. The Empire settled into the role of a powerful geopolitical rival in Star Trek The Next Generation, which continued the series' emphasis on inclusion by adding the Klingon security officer Worf, Michael Dorn, to the command crew of the Enterprise. Vox in Excelsior reveals that the burn, the catastrophic event that shattered the Federation in the 31st century, also devastated the Klingons. Their homeworld, Kyonos, was destroyed, and their species is on the brink of extinction, mostly living in refugee camps. There are so many refugees at any given time in the world. It is a part of the human condition, Starfleet Academy co-showrunner Noga Landau told Polygon in a video interview. We feel that on a show like Starfleet Academy, it's important to tell that story. Vox in Excelso focuses on Jaden Cragg, Starfleet Academy's only Klingon student. When a ship carrying members of the 8 Klingon great houses to a refugee camp suffers catastrophic mechanical failure, the Federation wants to offer assistance, but the proud Klingons refuse aid. Jaden becomes a voice for his culture when the issue is discussed in the school's debate class. Following with a long history of rhetoric-focused Star Trek episode, Jaden faces fears of public speaking to make his argument, coming up with a way for the Federation to give the Klingons a new homeworld without violating demonstrating their sense of honor. The episode redefines what it means to be a Klingon warrior. I think every soul alive in the galaxy right now at some point has to go to war, Landau said. That's a very Starfleet idea. That war shows up in all forms, and it's about how you meet it when it comes to you. Jaden is a pacifist studying to become a doctor, and as a Klingon, he's strikingly different from Worf. Deanne told Polygon he was worried about how his character would be received until he spoke to Dorn. For 4 months straight, I was... Okay, let me just move on.
No, yeah, go on.
Okay, all right. I was just a ball of anxiety. Klingons are iconic, and I know naturally people would compare me to the Klingon, he said. Michael Dorn helped me just relax and said, just have fun and do it your own way. Translation, I don't want to be involved anymore. I have to. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Jaden also struggles with other people's expectations for him. He chooses his choice to pursue medicine and refuses to participate in a hunting ritual, deeply upset his parents. All three of them in Starfleet Academy mentions polyamory in episode 3 when Cadet Darren Ramey, George Hawkins, talks about his complicated love life, and Landau said introducing a Klingon triad, Jaden has 2 fathers and a mother, is just another way the show's holding up a mirror to the modern world.
Oh, jeez.
There are a lot of folks alive in the world right now, there always have been, who have 3 parents, Landau said. No, that's usually when one parent divorces and marries another. That's not polyamory.
They don't have what they have. They have these 2 parents and maybe some step parents.
Yes, that's what that is. They can grow them. They can become parents too, but it's not the same thing. They're not all in a relationship together. We put our heads together and we were writing that, and we said there are going to be a lot of people in our audience who've never seen their kind of family before on screen. So why don't we do that? Klingons are fun. They seem to be the sort of people who wouldn't hold back from having a 3-parent household.
Yeah, they actually kind of do. I mean,
I would imagine
all the races to pick. That you know what? Just no.
I would imagine that in Klingon, like whether it be 2 women wanting the same man or 2,
there'd be a fight over.
There'd be a fight, exactly. And maybe even Mortal Kombat.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
That would probably be what would happen.
And tradition. See, you also have to remember this is being written by people that hate tradition, that want to tear down tradition, and the Klingons are the most tradition-based. If there was going to be a right-wing analog, it would be the Klingons. These are not the bastions of progressive, liberal values.
Klingons are fun, laugh out loud. Yeah, they're the fun race. Really?
Yeah. Just like the Mongols were.
I think be honest with you, I think the Klingons on the original Star Trek series were based on the Mongols. That's what they remind you of when you see them.
In a lot of ways, yeah.
Here's what I'm going to say about this before we start attacking Paramount. Kurtzman's contract is up in August.
Yeah. It's almost over.
It will either be renewed or it won't be. I've heard one guy on YouTube talking that behind the scenes, he has been ordered to have all productions wrapped up by the contract renewal date, or they will not get paid for, I think, working on this stuff, or there's going to be a pay cut. I think that's one of the reasons why Strange New Worlds has been cut. This final season has been cut to 6 episodes. And they just finished filming Starfleet Academy Season 2. I believe it's wrapping up this month. They're going to then get done with the next 6 episodes of Strange New Worlds. I expect next year you're probably going to see the final season of Starfleet Academy and the final season of Strange New Worlds. I don't think they're going to renew his contract, but frankly, this is a test for Paramount. You own intellectual properties, and the more of this crap Star Trek that's out there, the more it hurts your property. Do you understand? Do they understand this?
Yep.
I would say they should make this a tax write-off, but I don't even know if they have, if they're allowed to do that. Maybe there's a contract stipulation saying they can't do that sort of thing. Again, we have new people in charge at Paramount. I have to give them the chance to do the right thing, but I think the big test is going to be come August and whether or not Kurtzman's contract is going to be renewed. They got to get him out of there. Do you know who I would actually give Star Trek to? Maybe just do like movies to. I would maybe talk to the guy that did Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know why? Because he's the one that did Tron Legacy. So he's already done science fiction.
Good point. Yeah.
And he did a F1. He knows how to do movies that have action in them, intense scenes, but also talk down and they actually have character moments. And I think he might be the right guy for Star Trek. Just and have him try to reset things, and then maybe they could do something with it later on with a series. But I don't know. I don't know how they fix Star Trek at this point. That's just my thoughts. But I heard that all the Star Trek sets have been torn down, and the deal was on the table for Kurtzman has been withdrawal. I think you're right too, Geek Flag.
Yep.
I don't think he's going to last there much longer. I think this is a disaster. I think Holly Hunter and her feet. I think that's someone's fetish behind the scenes. I'm not joking,
Yes.
because that doesn't make any sense. Because if you don't want to wear shoes, you wear sandals. You don't walk around your bare feet. That doesn't make any sense.
You don't even do that when you are on the bridge of a ship.
Well, you actually don't, because that's not how a captain portrays him or herself. Because remember on Star Trek The Next Generation, there's a wonderful scene where you see Picard in his ready room, and I think his feet are up, and then the bell rings or whatever, and suddenly he readjusts himself, he puts his feet down, straightens himself up, and then he says enter, because he didn't want to be seen having his feet up in his ready room, because he's the captain. Do you understand?
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense. Star Trek has become Tumblr pick, nothing more. You're absolutely right, Stephen. I think that's what it's become. I have no idea what they're doing, and I actually tried with Kurtzman Trek, and maybe that's my own fault. I watched the first 2 seasons of Discovery. I watched the first season of Picard, and it wasn't good. There were some good ideas in Discovery early on, which were probably written by Mr. Mosley, who they fired.
Yeah.
Who actually was an example of a Black American writer who rose up in the ranks through merit, and he was on that show. And probably the good stuff on Discovery came from him. And then because he used the word when he was discussing a story that happened to him, even though he was of that race that racial slur went to, they figured out a way to get him taken off Discovery. It was ridiculous. So,
yeah.
Anyway, what do you think? What's your thoughts? You're the big Klingon guy. I know you probably don't pay attention.
I think this isn't even Star Trek at all. So as far as I'm concerned, these aren't Klingons either. This is all going to be decanonized when they don't renew with Kurtzman. So I don't think any of this matters.
Why do they keep blowing up?
I will say one other thing about this, though, that you should understand from the point of view of fandom. Unfortunately, Star Trek is very much overrun with the Rainbow Brigade. They really are, and that includes the main Klingon organization, and it's why I have much less to do with it than I ever used to. They really are. The people you see running around doing stupid stuff in Minneapolis, those are the kind of people that of Star Trek. So.
Well, this begs another question, though. Then, and I'm being serious here. Do these shows have an audience that I'm not aware of? Because I can't get. I mean, well, I guess this doesn't, because they did on Outpost, right? Yesterday's Enterprise. And I don't know why they're portraying the Klingon Empire in disarray and their homeworlds destroyed. The Klingon Empire, if you go by TNG, they remember that alternate timeline when that thing didn't happen, where the Enterprise went in the future. The Klingons were winning the war with the Federation.
Yep.
They were a dominant.
Because they're literally a warrior race. They're like the Spartans of Star Trek.
But they act like they're dumb. They're not. They have their own scientists. They have their own engineers. They can do things. I argue they have the best ships in Star Trek.
You got a bunch of lefty loonies that are all big on diversity, right? But they tend to be the biggest racists. They really are.
Yeah.
Whether it's the soft bigotry of low expectations or defaulting to the two-dimensional ideas of general stereotypes. And if anything, if you want to say, well, Star Trek was always progressive, then maybe do something about the fact that not every Klingon is a warrior. That's fine. They started talking about this in Deep Space Nine when Jadzia Dax said, Klingons are as diverse as any other race. Not all of them are warriors. Some of them are chefs. Some of them are lawyers. Some of them are actors.
Yeah, they perform Shakespeare.
Absolutely. Very passionately. But and they're if you're going to make a generalization, that's the generalization to make, that they are passionate, right? As a counterpoint to the Vulcans, who are absolutely dispassionate.
Yeah.
Emotionless.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they have emotions, they just suppress them. But whatever the case is, but then you have a character like Cybok who refused to suppress his emotions.
Yes.
So there's gonna be stories to be told by people that kind of go against the general grain. There's your progressive stories, not this kind of let's completely warp the whole society to match what we want it to be now and claim it always was that way. Thank you, Karl Marx.
Our final story of the night. Happy Meal changeables.
What are changeables? Tell me about
Okay.
it, Uncle Boomer.
I could have done a good old days on this. Back in the 80s, there was this thing called Transformers that was very popular.
Right.
So McDonald's said, we're going to make our own version. So you get like a shake or like a hamburger and your cheeseburger.
Oh,
and
my brother had some of these.
Transform into a robot. And
Yeah.
it would transform into a robot. And they brought them back. And I'm not going to spend too much time with this because we're about to wrap things up here. But what's old is new again. McDonald's is bringing back an iconic Happy Meal toy after nearly 40 years. The fast food giant officially brought back the changeables Happy Meal from the 80s on Tuesday, giving fans a taste of nostalgia. Starting January 27th, the beloved toys that first stole fans' hearts late 80s and early 90s will return to restaurants for a limited time, giving kids and grown-ups alike the chance to get one of 16 changeables that transform into classic McDonald's icons. I got this thing that's supposed to be a vampire dinosaur that I think he changes out of the stove into.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They actually have a whole thing of origins on there. It's ridiculous of what these characters are. It's like their own line of Transformers. It's ridiculous, but they're at Happy Meals right now, and I want to get the fries. That's my one because I used to have a fry one when I was a kid, so I want to get the new fry one. But anyway.
Yeah, I think that's the one my brother had was the fry.
Yeah, because you pull down the feet and his arms would pop out, and then you'd lift up
Yeah.
the fries, and there'd be a robot head underneath. I remember that, and I
watched it, and it was a movie that existed. So go find out what Deleted Scenes has to say about it. And then immediately after that, he will be forwarding you over back to my channel I have decided that I'm going to squeeze the last 3 episodes of the Dalek arc into tonight's episode. So you're technically getting 3 episodes of Doctor Who tonight. So it'll run a little longer. I'm definitely starting on time, maybe even a shade early. But the reason I'm doing that is because the last episode of the Daleks originally aired on this day in 1963, February 1st. So I thought it was appropriate, and it just seemed like why have one dangling episode? So I'm gonna go ahead.
Dangling participle.
Exactly. So it's going to be a slightly later one tonight, but I think it's going to be worth it, guys. We'll get it wrapped up. We'll start right on time.
So like in the old days when I would set up timers for the Doctor episodes on PBS, and then once in a blue moon you'd have the 6-episode one, and I would not give it enough time. So I think I got in the habit of setting it for 3 hours after that. But you didn't have episode guides back then.
That's true.
Your best bet probably would have been looking at your local TV lineup in your newspaper and maybe seeing if it went over. But yeah. All right. Then let's see tomorrow.
Do you think? I mean, we're running the clock.
Yeah. Why don't we wrap it up? But
you guys that are here on a regular basis, you guys know what we're doing throughout the week. And if you join me tomorrow at lunchtime for Liquid Lunch, I will play my promos, to let you know everything that we got coming up in the week, and you'll be all caught up.
Y'all should
Right.
know the score by now, I would think. But
Exactly.
just tune into our channels. You'll see the previews ahead of time. All right.
Exactly.
All right, y'all. I'll catch you next time. This was fun. And oh, why did we end with that Star Trek? We ended with McDonald's. That's something to look forward to.
We ended with McDonald's. You deserve a break today. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Good night.